Audio Jungle.
What's going on, everybody? Today we're doing a preview of the Philadelphia Phillies. We got Philly Special. Philly Special is going to give us the inside info on the Phillies, but I got to start because I'm a Giants fan. I got to start with the big question. That's Gabe Kapler. I want to know what you thought of Gabe Kapler.
Okay, so before I start, this is nothing personal. I think Gabe's a really good guy. The players do seem to like him, but he cannot manage at all. He is not a good manager. He micromanages to the max. He's going to just he's going to wear the hell out of your bullpen like you did with us this year. I was ecstatic when we fired him because the talent we had last year, we shouldn't have missed the playoffs. We should have had enough to get into the playoffs. And they fell short. The pitching wasn't all that great. The bullpen, got some injuries and they struggled, and the lineup, it was mixed up a lot. That's another problem with him. He mixed up the lineup like every game, and just it threw guys off, and just it was middle of the pack with some really good names in there. So it was just such a disappointing year with him at the helm.
So you must be happy with Joe Girardi now. I mean, that's a big name.
I'll say this: now that Cora got fired, Hinch got fired, that Bochy retired, and Yost retired, I think there's only one manager in the league that you can say is better than him, and I think he is better. I'm a huge Terry Francona fan. I think he's the best manager in the MLB, but the fact that we got the second best and still an amazing manager that took the rebuilding 2017 New York Yankees to Game 7 of the ALCS versus a cheating team, that just shows how great of a manager he is. And honestly, they could have beat the Dodgers. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think I said it in my MLB prediction video, because I had the Phillies playing the Dodgers. I said that he was a better manager than Dave Roberts was, and I think he would be able to outmanage him. I don't know that means that he would win the series, but they definitely had a shot. I'm a big Joe Girardi guy. He is not going to hold this team back like Kapler did. And not only that, he also brought in a really good pitching coach in Brian Price, who everywhere he's gone, the pitchers have gotten better and the pitching staff has been really solid. And Joe Dillon, who, as a hitting coach, who last year with the Nationals, they were in second in runs after losing Bryce Harper and really not having that great of a lineup outside of Anthony Rendon and Juan Soto. Sure, Howie Kendrick had a great year, but Howie Kendrick had an OPS at almost 1,000. He's not a guy that's going to hit for an 1,000 OPS. And I mean, Trey Turner's a solid player, but it wasn't that great of a lineup. They won due to their pitching staff. So
yep,
yeah.
I don't know where we can see this, but I'm going to let you go ahead and just talk about your team. I know you made some nice additions in the offseason.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
We added D.D. Gregorious, and we added Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler, I really like. I think that he was one of the more underrated pitchers in this free agent class, and he has a very similar pitch selection as Garrett Cole. For those of you guys who watch Draft Nick Mark, which I mean a lot of you guys do, if you guys like watching baseball channels, you're watching that guy. Let's be real, he's one of the biggest out there. He showed the pitch selection for Garrett Cole and Zack Wheeler. They have the same kind of pitches, and they both use them about the same amount. So I'm not saying he's going to be Garrett Cole, because I think Garrett Cole is just a more raw talent than Zack Wheeler is. But Zack Wheeler, I still is a solid pitcher, and second half of the past two seasons, so good. ERA is 2.26, which is second best in the league behind his former teammate Jacob deGrom, and that's what this team needs, because they have collapsed in each of the last two seasons, and it's not all because of the pitching, but that's been a part of it, a big part of it. As far as D.D. Gregorious, he's a shortstop who's going to hit you 25 to 30 home runs. Again, he's not going to be hitting in Yankee Stadium, so I don't know if he's going to have the same offensive numbers, but it's an upgrade at what he had at shortstop last year. Granted, it's just a guy moving to second. It's basically like replacing Cesar Hernandez, and he's a better player than Cesar Hernandez is. He hits for more power, hits for about the same average, and plays better defense. So that was a really good signing, in my opinion. They also made a lot of minor moves, guys like Francisco Liriano. They also signed Josh Harrison, who I think is going to be a really solid guy off the bench. They got Neil Walker, who's another really solid guy off the bench. They also have Jay Bruce, who was already on the team last year. He was really good in the situations we used him in, and I think because the bench last year absolutely sucked. We had guys like Andrew Knapp coming off the bench who can't hit a lick, and now they actually have some depth, and they also have some younger players possibly coming up who are going to make an impact. Guys like Spencer Howard and Alec Boehm, who are both, I believe, top 40 prospects. I'm feeling good about this year. I mean, a lot of Phillies fans feel that we could have gotten more pitching, and we absolutely could have. I don't know why Matt Klentak was not more aggressive towards getting relievers and starters. He got Zack Wheeler, which is a signing that I really liked, but I really wish we would have gotten more guys. He says he's confident in the starting five we have right now, and he also says that Spencer Howard will probably come up maybe like May or June. I was thinking maybe towards like August, maybe like early September, but the fact that I would love that. I love Spencer Howard. I think he's going to be great.
This is a sample lineup. Can you see that?
It is. It's McCutchen, Realmuto, Harper, Hoskins, Gregorious, Segura, Kingery, and Adam Hazley. I'll be honest, I agree with most of that lineup, but I think Scott Kingery is going to have a huge year this year. Did you see this man? He bulked up. We locked him up a couple years ago for 6 years, so he's signed till 2023. My mom's a huge Scott Kingery fan. She actually got a jersey even before he became good this year, and I think he made a big step up last year. I think he makes another big step up this year. If he can bat like 270, 280 and hit like 20, 25 home runs, I'm very satisfied with that. I think he honestly could get a promotion up to the number 2 spot in the lineup and then move JT to number 6. It's just this lineup now has so many options that it's like you can't really go wrong other than moving McCutchen out of the leadoff spot. Like you could put Harper second, you could put him third, you put Hoskins third, fourth. Like D.D could hit third, he could hit fifth, like sixth. Like it's a lot of options now. The bottom of our lineup's a little weak. I don't like Gene Segura personally. He's a big reason why we struggled towards the end of the year, because first game we played this year against the Padres, McCutchen walks and he goes up to bat, pops the ball up. Ian Kinsler lets it go, which is a smart play, and he picks it up, throws to first because Segura was like lackadaisically jogging over to first base, and they caught McCutchen off of first base and got him in a rundown, and that's when Andrew McCutchen tore his ACL. If Segura had run that ball out, McCutchen wouldn't have gotten injured. That cost the Phillies mightily because he was top 5 in OPS plus last year in the leadoff spot. The Phillies were tied for dead last in OPS plus without him. So, I mean, with him back, they were on pace to make the playoffs, even with all those injuries in the bullpen, even with a weak rotation, even with having Gabe Kapler. Do I think they would have made the playoffs still with him? Maybe, maybe not. But it completely threw the team off. We couldn't find a leadoff hitter, and we just collapsed after he went down. And so far I really like the way this lineup is looking going into 2020.
It looks good. And they got a rotation here. Is that about right here for the rotation?
Yeah, that's what see, Vince Velasquez is likely going to be moved to the bullpen. And I think even if he does make the starting rotation, I would flip him and Eflin. I think Eflin would be the number 4, and I think that Vince Velasquez would be the number 5. Aaron Nola is great. Everyone knows that. And I think that, last year was just – it wasn't unlucky that he didn't pitch all that great. I mean, he just didn't look like the Nola we saw the year before. What I expect from Nola, probably an ERA under 3 and having a solid year. We already went over Zack Wheeler. Think he's going to be 3.5, and I think Nola could. But going back to Nola, I think he could be in the Cy Young race if we're lucky. What's his? Is that projected ERA?
These are projected, projected.
Yeah, 3.55. Okay. I think it'll be a little less than that, but about a half run. But yeah, okay. I could see that. Wheeler, yeah, that's a decent projection for him. Jake Arrieta, 4.3. Yeah, I can see that. From what I've seen, though, from everyone on the team, like Jay Chiramuto caught him today, and he said that Jake Arrieta looks better than he ever has with the Phillies, and I'm excited. I think that if Arrieta actually lives up to the hype of his contract, I don't think he will. Will he? I mean, he hasn't so far, and I don't trust him this year. He's getting older, and he is coming off another injury. As far as Vince Velasquez goes, I think he's better fit for the bullpen. I mean, he's a guy who could work really well in like those games where it goes to like 18 innings, kind of like Nathan Eovaldi was for the Boston Red Sox in 2018. Remember, like when he pitched in that game 3 where he ended up giving up the home run to Muncy. He still pitched well in the game, but I think that's what we're going to use Vince Velasquez for. Pivetta is likely going to be our 5th starter. I'm on the fence with him. I think he has the stuff. He does have some really good stuff, but he is just so immature when he's on the mound. Like when he starts playing bad, you can see him getting visually upset. You can see him pout, and you can see him like doing like you can see that he's visually upset, and it's just you can't do that in the MLB. Like you gotta at least stay face, you know. And Zach Eflin, he, believe it or not, despite the fact that he really did struggle throughout part of the season, he took some steps forward because first like 2-3 months of the year was pitching. He had an ERA under 3, and then the month of July came where he had an ERA over 11. And every other month though, he didn't pitch all that bad, and he looked honestly pretty solid. And you know, he's never going to be a guy who's going to strike out a lot of batters. He's a lot like Kyle Hendricks and guys like Miles Mikolas and Mike Soroka, where he's not going to pitch to strike you out. He's not going to be that overpowering type of pitcher, but he's going to be the type of contact pitcher, which can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. It can be a good thing because it can get you quick outs, and then it can be a bad thing because, you know, your players can make errors. They can, you know, hit the ball more often, which, you know, could lead to more home runs and more hits. But if he can become like a solid 3.5, 4 type of pitcher, ERA, I think the Phillies fans, I think the Phillies fans will be satisfied with that. I mean, you can't really expect, you know, this guy to be a Cy Young candidate because he's just not.
So I'm looking at your bullpen. Are any of these guys? I don't know a lot of them. Francisco Liriano. Is that Francisco Liriano still around?
Yep, Francisco Liriano. They signed him from the Pirates. He actually had a pretty decent year last year with the Pirates. And,
he's a reliever, right? He moved to the bullpen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And they signed Bud Norris and Drew Storen. Drew Storen hasn't been in the league since 2017. He's probably going to be a little. He was not bad with the. He was actually pretty solid for a few years there. Not sure what we're going to get out of him. You know, guys like Blake Parker and I think that's David Guerra from the Brewers. I mean, I don't expect much out of those guys. Jose Alvarez had a really good year last year. Hector Neris, despite the fact that he got ripped apart by Phillies fans, myself included, he wasn't all that bad. He blew some saves. He blew one against the Dodgers. He blew an awful save against the Braves early on in the year, which is really what started to sink this team. And that was another bad Gabe Kapler loss that kind of fell on him, where he just overused the bullpen. And but Neris overall last year was solid. He had an ERA under 3. I believe it was like 2.95 or something. If they can get that out of him this year, I mean, he's had 3 seasons with an ERA under 3, and a lot of people like to shit on the guy, but he's not bad. As far as guys like Sir Anthony Dominguez goes and David Robertson, they're both coming off of injuries, and I really hope that they can come back healthy and be big for us. David Robertson said he's trying to shoot for the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, and which will be about 60 games, because I actually looked at it, we play 101 games before the All-Star break, which is crazy. I don't know why that is, but I think if he can come back and be the New York Yankee David Robertson, that's going to be huge late in the year for us. And that's another thing. we didn't have much bullpen help the past couple seasons, and the bullpen kind of imploded late in the year. If we can get another solid arm going in this bullpen, there is a much less chance of us imploding late in the year.
So I guess just talk about where you got the Phillies finishing. What do you think is going to happen in the NL East?
All right. So everyone knows the Marlins are probably going to be bad. I like the offseason they had. They had probably a good solid B, maybe really low A offseason, signing guys like Aguilar. They're going to have some young, solid farm talent coming up, possibly producing this year, but they're still going to finish in last place. They're probably going to have around 60 to 70 wins. In fourth place, I know I had the Mets in my 2020 National League East predictions. I think it's going to be the defending World Series champions, the Washington Nationals. Their lineup is really weak now. They lost Rendon, who was an MVP candidate last year. I think Juan Soto's great, but there's plenty of other lineups that have one really great player, Angels, that just not a lot of other great talent, and they've struggled. Now, they do have the pitching staff, and they did really improve their bullpen, signing Daniel Hudson, re-signing Daniel Hudson, and then going out and signing Will Harris, which is another guy that I think Clentac could have went after and got. I think the Nationals slipped to fourth. It's crazy to say. I know their pitching staff is great. I got the Mets in third. I think the Mets are going to be close to the Phillies. I have them probably around like a high 80s in wins like they were last year. They signed Dellin Betances. I still don't trust Edwin Diaz and Jerry's Familia. Jerry's Familia did lose some weight, which I think is a good thing for him, obviously. And Noah Syndergaard, I mean, he's a good pitcher, but he had a down year last year. He's going to need to bounce back. Guys like J.D. Davis and Ahmed Rosario really overachieved last year. I don't know if they're going to be back to form. And Pete Alonso won the Rookie of the Year last year. I don't think he's hitting 53 home runs again, and I think the average will stay about the same, and I still think he'll get about 100 RBIs, but expect him to be around like 35 to 40 home runs, which is still a really good year. But, you know, I think the Mets kind of overachieved last year late in the season, and I don't know if they're going to be able to carry that into this season. I'm not sold on Luis Rojas quite yet, and I think that the Mets end up finishing third with about 87, 88 wins. Second place, Philadelphia Phillies, baby. I had to do it. They brought in, I'm telling you, the biggest moves they made: Girardi, Price, Dillon. That's going to improve every aspect of the team. They're going to have a manager that actually knows how to manage a game, how to put a lineup together, and have success with it. I'm believing, man. I am a believer. I think here's where I have the Phillies about at in wins. I think it's going to be from between 88 to 92 wins this year for them. In first place, though, I have the Atlanta Braves. Had a phenomenal offseason, best offseason in the NL East easily. They signed Cole Hamels, who was going to be hurt for the first, month or so of the season, but his presence will still be huge because he's a veteran who can really teach those younger guys like Fried and Soroka. And when he comes back, he'll be really solid. They got Will Smith from your San Francisco Giants, a guy that again, another reliever that the Phillies could have gone out and tried to get. So I think the Braves end up winning this division. I have them winning 100 games. I have them being one of the best teams in the league. I think they are on the cusp of becoming an elite team. And I hate saying that, but they are very good.
Sounds good. That's a good preview right there. I mean, you guys made a lot of good moves, a great off season, and I think that I think you guys have a good chance. I haven't made my predictions yet, but you're going to be pretty close to yours. Obviously, Marlins at the bottom. Yep, Nationals are not going to be as good. Mets are pretty good, and then Phillies and Braves. That sounds like a really good prediction right there.
I just want to see some playoff baseball. I really want to see some playoff baseball. But yeah, Phillies Brewers wildcard game. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Two really good lineups, two pitching staffs that are a little bit shaky, but still not that bad. And those are just my predictions for the Phillies this year.
Sounds perfect. I appreciate the preview. Definitely.
Yeah,
I want to urge everybody check out Philly Specials channel because he's got a really good baseball and not just baseball. You talk different sports too, right?
Yeah, I talk about the Eagles. I talk about the Flyers a little bit too as well. So, hey guys, Please don't rip me apart in the comments section too bad for being a biased Phillies fan. I've waited 8 years to make the playoffs. Just give me a little bit of a break. Give me a little bit of a break, please.
That's okay. At least you don't got him winning the World Series like Giraffe did for the Mets in 29.
Hey, no, I got nothing but love and respect for Draft Neck Mark. I love his videos. He's really good at what he does, and if I could ever be like him, that would be amazing. And but
that's the goal, man. That's the goal for all of us.
Bit delusional, and I think he has us in 4th place again this year, which I don't agree with that, but we will have to wait and see.
All right, sounds good. So I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link in the comments. So everybody check out Philly Special. Really appreciate stopping by. So you have a great day. We talk to you later.
Peace.
See ya.